Plenty of news, and we'll check in with Woj in just a second. Malika Andrews will have interviews throughout the night. Bobby Marks from a front office perspective. Most of you know that there's been a huge injury involving Klay Thompson that we will get to momentarily with Woj that could impact what happens in the draft tonight. But taking a broad picture of the draft right now, Jay, what's the characteristic of what we're going to see tonight?
Well, first of all, no draft prospects have ever gone through a journey like these draft prospects. I can't imagine the emotion of R.J. Hampton and the other draft prospects on what is the biggest night of their lives professionally. Teams are operating without the normal information they would have from a combine, from all the things they would have gotten in the spring. These players have worked out forever. And we've spent a lot of time talking about who should be the top pick, who of the top three players, top three prospects has a chance to be great. But there's a lot of really good throughout this draft, whether it's guys like Tyrese Halliburton of Iowa State, Devin Vassell of Florida State, guys that can play at both ends of the floor and be really impactful, or Sadiq Bey of Villanova, who a 45% three-point shooter that can also defend. There's a lot of talent in this draft, and the ceiling may not be as high as the top three, but the floor is really high on these guys.
It's been 8 months. 8 months since these guys have last played. That's if you were actually playing going into March Madness for a lot of guys, with the exception of the guys that didn't play overseas. And the question I think a lot of GMs have is, did this adversity, this reveal a lot of character, or did it mask it? Did it mask character? And I think trying to evaluate, and also for a lot of these guys, it has to be challenging. Who did you work out with? What was your schedule and how you worked out with? You were making a lot of adult decisions considering you were working out in these types of environments, considering the pandemic.
And to your point, for LaMelo Ball and James Wiseman, it's going to have been over a year since they played their last competitive game by the time they step on an NBA floor. And each prospect has really had different circumstances. You look at Tyrese Halliburton, he was able to play 3-on-3 out in Vegas. You have Tyrese Maxey, he was doing 6 a.m. workouts with Rajon Rondo before he went to the bubble. So each guy has kind of had different circumstances. But I think with no training camp, no summer league, we're going to really see who's kept themselves in shape.
Well, the team that has the first pick at the moment is the Minnesota Timberwolves, but picking just behind the Timberwolves, the Golden State Warriors. You know, injuries wrecked their season a year ago. The team that had built a dynasty in the NBA fell to 15 wins. Klay Thompson, one of those injuries, along with Steph Curry. Woj joins us now. Woj, what do you have the latest on the Klay Thompson situation that unfolded this afternoon?
Reese, I was told Klay Thompson was in Southern California working out today, playing a pickup game. He suffered a right lower leg injury. He's going to be tested in the next few days. The severity of it is unclear. He missed last season, the entirety of last season, with an ACL injury in his other knee, and he had fully rehabbed from that. But they're still waiting to get a sense of how serious the injury is, and I'm told lower right leg.
All right, Woj, thank you very much. As Woj finds out more, he'll share it with us in our coverage throughout the draft. And look, all of this is happening right now, and there had already been a lot of conjecture and speculation about what the Warriors might do at number 2 and what they would need to recharge that dynasty. We hope the injury's not serious, but where does that leave the Warriors right now?
Well, some of the conjecture before was, do you package Andrew Wiggins and the pick to go after another superstar like a Bradley Beal if he were on the table? I think that's off the table now. I think considering the injury to Klay Thompson, you need Andrew Wiggins more than ever. I think if you're that team, if Golden State, you trade down. I think you say, hey, look, the Bulls put an offer on the table. It was for Wendell Carter in the 4th pick. You get your big that you were looking for, maybe that if you're going to get with James Wiseman or something of that sort before. And I think you also get a chance to get a guy like, Danny Avdija. Right? Did I say it correctly?
Avdija.
I'm going to get it correct.
You're by the end of the show.
But he brings that tall, that big guard that can do things similar. Can't shoot the ball as similar as Klay Thompson, but brings that same kind of physicality to the table.
I think you have to look at LaMelo Ball, honestly. I think they need to take a long view as they're approaching this draft and look toward the future. The first option should obviously be a guy who's ready to play now, but LaMelo to me is the best prospect in this draft. He's an elite playmaker. I think he's going to be one of the best passers in the NBA from the second he steps on the floor. He can make guys around him better, and I think he'd really fit alongside Steph Curry. Honestly, Steph is not a ball-dominant guy. He's into his 30s. He doesn't want to pound it. He likes to get shots off of movement. He likes to run off of screens, handoffs, and I think that could be a really interesting pairing.
The one thing I wouldn't do if I were the Golden State Warriors is overreact right now. So if you were going to take LaMelo Ball anyway, take him now. But if you were going to take James Wiseman, there's still darn good reason to take Wiseman now. If this were 5 or 10 years ago, James Wiseman would be the no-brainer number 1 pick in this draft. He's 7'1" with a 7'6" wingspan. He's not a serviceable big guy. He's got a chance to be a great big guy in the league. He reminds me a lot of Chris Bosh, except he's bigger and longer. When Chris Bosh came out in 03 from Georgia Tech, both left-handed, and Wiseman can shoot it. You know, the questions about, well, can he stretch his range out? He's got a good shooting touch, and he's mobile. He can move laterally, so he can set screens and actually get out and guard him on the perimeter. And I think he can stretch that range out to three-point range. And if the Warriors were going to take him before, I wouldn't change the plan. I'd still take him.
No, we have questions about